Good evening, everyone. Welcome to day 4 of Young Guns, presented by Olaplex. It's part of the continuation of the PBI digital series we've been hosting since lockdown. So essentially we're in week 8 of digital content, which is bringing the community together, engaging them, and really bringing different facets of the industry together, from young tech, young experts, young stylists, all the way to the kind of iconic as well. And it's really about how do we keep sharing experiences during this difficult time. Today's session is we're focusing more back at business, which is an evolution to what we've done a couple of weeks ago, where we were kind of talking about what life's going to look like when we get back to business. But today we're very lucky to have salons and clinics from around India, and also from Dubai, who have been open anywhere between a few days and 6 weeks. Now they're going to be sharing, the kind of lessons that they've been learning so far, from opening up, and really communicating, what's the difference between the thinking that was there pre-opening, what was it like in week 1, week 2, etc., and really sharing some of those stories, with you, the community, so that we can just keep passing on best practices to the salons, parlors across the country, who are still yet to open up, and that they can pick up some valuable lessons and tips, from our esteemed panelists today to really incorporate on when they do open up. So we're very lucky. We have Manjul Gupta, founder of Bodycraft from Bangalore, Kiran Bawa, founder of Iosis Salon from Mumbai, Bina Punjani from Goa, and Nitin who heads up Head Rush and Juice Salons, has been in the salon business and the product business across, the GCC and India for many, many years. We also have Aankith Aroraa, who runs Streamline and who's also looks after Olaplex, who's our partner for this week. And he looks after the Olaplex brand as well. And we get a real perspective of what salons and clinics are doing, as well as how brands are supporting their salon partners in the community. So I think we want to kind of like dive straight into the conversation, because we've only got an hour and there's a lot to get through. And I think what the community really wants to hear about is the kind of data and what's really been going on within your businesses that you've been running. And Manjul, I'm going to start with you, because obviously you've got an interesting model where you've got around 18 salons, 16 clinics as well. So you kind of are this hybrid of and medical, and obviously the kind of standards you'll have in place, are very different to what a typical salon might have. I know you've been open a few days, and so it'd really be nice to hear about what's it been like, for the time you've been open in Bangalore.
Hi everybody. We had opened Bodycraft almost 9 to 10 days back, and we have a limitation of timings in Bangalore. So we are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. It means we have to close the place by 5:30, 5:45. We have to wind up. So last appointment is generally taken around 4:30. It means we are losing out the most precious 3 hours of the evening, right? Because that's a time when most of the working people, they come, and mothers come when they are free from the children and all those things. So definitely that's a huge loss. But I'm happy that at least we could start, we are at work, and clinics have started, all the salons and spas have started. We have not started our academy. We have Vidal Sassoon Academy in Bangalore. We could not start that yet, waiting for that. And starting the business was definitely a challenge, because there were so many guidelines. And since we were taking all the guidance from the doctors of us, they all are dermatologists, and we have a big team with us. So according to their guidance and according to WHO guidance, we were following everything and preparing ourselves for the for sanitization and for disinfectants and everything. It was a task for us. But I'm very happy the way we are handling our business, because clients are really appreciating it, and they are feeling very safe with us. So they come for one service, and they, when they see the whole atmosphere and all the facilities the way we are giving to them, they actually end up doing 3 to 4, 5 services. So nice. It's very nice actually.
And then, with regarding the hours, you're saying you're having to close around 5:30, 6. Is that because of state regulation? What's the reason you're having to close?
Yeah. It's a state regulation. Till 31st of this month, we are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah. We are open only for these many hours.
And then how much of your typical day have you lost? Because already you said you're losing the evening shift, but what would your normal operational hours be pre-lockdown? What kind of hours were you doing?
So we were working from 9:30 to 9. So practically we used to start around 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock to 9 o'clock we were working, and we have lost many hours now, because in the morning barely anyone comes. When we start at 9 o'clock, no one comes at that time actually.
Yeah. So you're operating, but you're operating at almost half the hours.
Yeah.
And then what about like staffing? Like how much of your salon is operational? Are you like 50% occupancy, 35%? What kind of numbers are you operating at there?
You are talking about the staff?
Yeah. So is it 100% staffing at the moment, or
no,
only half the salon
almost
open?
No, around 70% staff. And on Saturday we called the whole staff, and they all were very busy. Again, we have Sunday closed in Karnataka. So that is another, so that was another, setback. But it's okay. It's just for 2 weeks. So we'll wait for the full-fledged time.
Okay. But you're still able to operate.
Yes. And I'm very happy.
Capacity, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very happy about it. Around 60 to 70% staff is there every day. And at least they are earning something, And place is operational, so it gives you a very good vibe. It's very positive. Yeah. And it's okay if Sunday is closed and less hours. It's fine. We'll cope up with it.
Yeah. And then, are you able to say at what percentage of revenue you're at the moment? Like compared to what it was pre-lockdown.
Okay, so we sell a lot of packages for the clinic also, and for the beauty services, for salon, for spa. So a lot of people are coming to to avail that. They are using that, and definitely it's not the same. I should say I think it should be around 60%.
Okay. It's still not bad actually, like so
50 to 60%. Yeah.
Okay. And you were doing package servicing already, like before lockdown? Was it part of the...
Yeah, they were always there. There.
Great. Okay, super. Well, we're just going to move on to some other experiences. So I want to jump to Nitin. So obviously you've been open a few days. Nitin in Dubai has been open up, I think 6 weeks now in Dubai. You're on mute, Nitin.
5 weeks. It's been open 5 weeks. Yeah.
And obviously, Dubai had separate restrictions because it started off hair and nails only. So what's been the kind, and also it opened up during Ramadan. So that's also quite a tricky period to understand trends and consumer behavior, because naturally, I think it's going to be slower anyway. But what's been the kind of trend you've seen in the Dubai market with customers?
So we were not allowed to do any skin services or any essential services. Our ratio of business has been around 60% hair and 40% nails. Since yesterday
Okay.
we've started now skin services, so let's see how that goes. But the overall trend is slow. I can share you some interesting things. For example, in a couple of my salons, we used to do a lot of blow dry business. Now, suddenly, it's a very interesting thing which has happened is people are coming to do more keratin. Why? Because they don't want to come frequently to do blow dries. So, this is a very interesting thing I'm noticing that people now want to do keratin so they don't have to come to salon so often.
Okay. And then has that been from the beginning? Like as soon, the first couple of weeks, people are coming demanding keratin treatment, or it's been a recent trend?
I think this has picked up for last 2 weeks.
And then the blow dry, is that, why is the blow dry kind of service stopped? Is it a hygiene issue, or people are worried about spending too much time?
It's an interesting question. You see, people who are coming to the salons, as Manjula says, we're also seeing less number of footfalls. So people are still a little bit scared, and they want to come and they want to do something quickly and go. They don't want to spend time too much. So, that's a confidence issue. Of course, we have
Right.
top level of hygiene and everything. That's, we follow everything. But generally, people are spending less time in the salon. So you really have to be ready with whatever offers you have to offer them, in the sense that, if somebody comes for a blow, whatever service, you make sure that they buy retail. You make sure that, they take something home, a kind of a kit, so you need to maximize basically.
And then skin services is what the government's allowed skin services from this week, is it?
Since yesterday, we have started skin services. So we'll know the result today. Yeah.
All right. Interesting. So I'm going to move to Aankith actually, because Nitin makes an interesting point about the retail and how to maximize revenue from product retail and other services. And obviously you're with the brand and you understand product. So what kind of trends are you seeing as a brand with regards to salons retailing, for example?
I think there are two trends here. One is driven by the lockdown, which have been are going to be really positive for the salon fraternity going forward. What we did was, Olaplex globally, they were the first ones to start a salon affiliate program and a stylist affiliate program in the US. And that kind of gave us a great idea of how we could kind of share and reapply that in India. And what we did was we took some of the ideas from the salon affiliate program and we made like a Google document and sent it to all our salon partners across India. Some of them had started delivering on their own and some of them were not delivering on their own. So we kind of gave them the option that they could use that Google Doc to send it to the consumer, get an order which got updated in an automatic email address, and we kind of ship those from our warehouse direct to the consumer for the salon. So the salon gets their commission on that. So we kind of tried to support the salon during the lockdown. Also, as a result of this, what we saw, we've done about 700 orders. Some were one-piece orders, some were three-piece orders, some were two-piece orders. So we did about 700 orders in the last 1.5 months. And what we realized is that the retail sales really jumped up. When I spoke to salons, some of them who partnered with us on the salon affiliate program, the feedback that I got from them was that a lot of the consumers that placed orders were not buying professional retail products earlier. So they were coming to the salon for the service, but they were probably not buying the professional retail and probably using, any other consumer retail, which is off the shelves of, FMCG stores. So the good thing about this is that I think what people have understood is the importance of salons, and the lockdown really made people understand from a consumer standpoint the importance of good professional products to take care of your hair. So earlier, like even Nitin mentioned, there were more blow dry services, which means people went out for a party or on a weekend, they came for a blow dry and they were sorted for the weekend. This lockdown kind of showed them that they need to have good salon services, but also good salon retail products. So we've seen a surge in retail. And we've seen, and now with some of the post-lockdown, some of the cities that have opened up, we've seen a surge in retail orders from those salons as well, as a, as a effect, as a ripple effect, you could say.
I mean, that's interesting because I know when we were talking to salons a couple of weeks ago who hadn't opened up, this whole thing about retail, in-store retailing in India, there is a lot of kind of I don't know if friction is the right word, but salons haven't typically done very well in India from a retail perspective, and we often hear case studies across Western markets where, salons that really actively take on retailing can earn, have 30, 40, 50% of their revenue from retailing. So I think maybe this is also an interesting opportunity for the salon community here to understand, how to work with the partners and the brands to drive more revenue from retail at the moment, especially as a substitute for losing revenue from services.
Also,
go on, yeah.
Also, Vikas, taking from what Manjul ma'am said and what Nitin spoke about, where people are coming to the salon, if you think of, in the post-COVID scenario, and until the consumer confidence is really back, which of course is going to come back with the amazing hygiene measures that are being taken by Bodycraft and salons in the fraternity. Till then, if you see, when you go on airports, you've always seen these packages at the spas. If you do in 60 minutes, you do like a head and shoulder. If you do 90 minutes, you get like a head, shoulder, back. So taking from there and taking from the current scenario, maybe if salons can, and considering Sundays being off and other restrictions on timings, I think what salons in India could do is build packages around minutes. So in 60 minutes, we can give you a haircut, a manicure, a pedicure, or in 60 minutes, I can give you a hair color, a manicure, pedicure, something else. So I think a lot of the Indian salons can start playing on packages around minutes, like clocking minutes at the salon, considering you also have to take a pre-appointment. So you can plan your appointment. It's not like the earlier times where you could just walk in and, you feel like upgrading or, doing something else, you can do it. So we could start giving suggested packages from salons to consumers, clocking minutes. So in these minutes, we can give you these things. Also considering the constraints on the days of the week. And I know in Gurgaon, I think it's about 2 days a week that the salon is allowed to open. So every state has different rules. So I think these packages could play a very crucial role in building the business, as well as getting the customer, what they deserve and what they want, within that environment, within the time that they're allowed to stay there as well. So, I mean, that's just a suggestion. Of course, the salon fraternity would have lots of ideas around that, and I'm sure they'll do an excellent job.
Yeah, that's great, because I think it's also how the kind of spa business works as well. So when you go into a spa, you're thinking in minutes. You're like, okay, I'm doing a 60-minute treatment or a 90-minute or 120-minute, which is an interesting idea. And obviously, Manjul's mentioned packages already. But Kiran, let me move to you, because obviously you're in the spa salon business, and do you also work on a kind of packages model as well? Like Manjul was saying, they do packages, but do you have that as part of your kind of setup?
Absolutely. In fact, our business is more of 70% packages, and the regular walk-in services is not that much. I mean, of course, we do have, but normally when people come in, we try and upsell or try and convince them for a package. So normally conversions are into a minimum ticket size over 10 to 15,000 as a package. So here goes Aankith. I'll just share my experience when it comes to a few hours, like you said, an hourly, 1 hourly or 2 hourly package. At this time, we did analyze and work on hands-on with this. It was a little difficult. It was a bit challenging to work on a 1 hour or a 2 hour package, because clients prefer that we don't rush into any service due to the safety measures. You keep spraying, you keep sanitizing your hands, the client is glued. You can't fix up those hours, especially in India. It's a bit of a challenge. So when we started 2 weeks back in Raipur, the first thing we planned was, we knew somewhere clients are not going to quickly come and pay us, because they've already paid up for their prepaid packages. So we did one thing was we gave them an extension of their membership. So someone's validity is getting over in the next 2 months. We have given them an extension for 6 months ahead, which was, they were very, very happy with it. And the next thing was we suggested something different from the packages what they buy. So to save their time, if a client, as Nitin just rightly said, people are getting a lot of cysteine and keratin treatments done because there is no more parting and going out. So people prefer the flat straight look. They are happy with it and don't want to come to the salon too much. Now that's where we might suffer because we don't have people coming in regularly. So it's better creating a package. So we created a hair de-stress package, COVID hair de-stress package, which has a keratin cysteine with a foot reflexology, with a manicure pedicure happening at the same station. So we requested our clients that we don't move you all the way to a manicure pedicure station. We set up everything where they are sitting on that one chair. We try and maximize from a threading to a face pack to a head massage, neck massage, a complete package in itself worth around 10,000 right there, you know, when they walk in. So we do work a lot on packages.
How's that going? You know, because you've got, I think, 2 outlets open at the moment.
2 outlets in Raipur, yeah.
Yeah. So how is that going at the moment? This whole kind of, okay, let's get them in, maximize as much time and value as possible from the client. So what's the response been so far to that concept?
So initially, a couple of days, we were quite stressed. We didn't see so many walk-ins. People were scared. And eventually, when our members started coming in, we got excellent feedbacks. They were very happy, feeling safe. And positively, we are seeing better footfalls now on the 2nd week. And people have gone back to taking the old packages, what they used to book with us.
Okay. So you said, I think you mentioned when we were chatting yesterday that you're already seeing advanced treatment happening in your salon, so already keratin treatments, etc. And people already so quickly doing time-consuming work.
Because getting a manicure, pedicure done, your foot reflexology, or, you know, all of it normally takes an hour and a half. So it's like, might as well get all my services done together. And as Nitin said, people want to get their keratin and cysteine service done because they have quoted and they've mentioned this, that, you know, we don't want to come to the salon very regularly. I mean, there is no parties, there's no socializing, no gatherings. So why get a blow dry done? So might as well maintain my hair with cysteine. They prefer cysteine than keratin.
Okay.
In India.
And what's the average kind of time customers are now spending? I know it's only week 2, but can you see what the average kind of time customers are spending at your salons is?
A minimum ticket size, when are you asking a minimum ticket size?
Well, but you could mention that as well. So right now, you know, within this first 2 weeks, what's the average ticket size? And also, how much time are they spending?
Honestly, when we started, you'll be surprised. I had only women coming in for threading and just 100 rupees threading. I was like, oh my God, how are we going to even sustain if this is going to happen? Eventually, it went rising up. It was a 5,000 ticket size to a 10,000. And just yesterday, we were fortunate that we sold a bigger package, more than a 50,000. So as I said, it's gradually picking up.
Okay. So are you seeing that customers are quickly getting back to old habits?
Not old habits. They feel safe with you. If they don't feel safe with you, they're not going to come back to you.
Okay, great.
It's about looking after them, making sure that your team and your customers are looked after.
Super. Let's, Bina, if you're okay, can we bring you in? Talk about that? You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, and you've been going 4 weeks now in Goa. So I think you're one of the longest running establishments in India at the moment. So what kind of trends are you seeing from customers? And also you've now got 4 weeks worth of data from what happened in 1, 2, 3, and also what's happening in the current week in your salon. So what are the kind of trends and behaviors you're seeing from your customers?
So Vikas, I'll quickly introduce a little bit about us as a brand. We fundamentally are a hair specialized studio. We are not a spa. So in Goa at the moment, spas are not allowed to be operational, or spa services rather. You can have hair and beauty services on. My experience in the first 2 weeks was, as a hairdresser, I was super excited to just get back to work. And so were the clients. To be honest, we had done a lot of work, and we were ready to open even a week before, because we couldn't understand why was there a lockdown in Goa to begin with when there were no cases. So people were just waiting to come on and, get their services done. Our clients used to call us to say that, can you send someone home to do our hair, because we don't know when this is going or where. So we said, no, we would like to stick to, not going in for home services, and rather wait for the salons to open. So this is the 4th week. And I must say, in terms of just the revenue from last May to this May, it's seen a very slight dip. That's again because I feel that, like I said, we are a hair specialized place, so people were waiting. Hair, I think, is more an essential service than anything else, especially for guys. So first 3 weeks were booked. The 4th week has normalized, also to a point where some of the days we don't really know if it's going to be that busy. Yeah, so for me, I think we've been very lucky to have opened. I think we were the first state in the country to have opened up in terms of the salon industry. And my clients have been very happy. So I think I shared some testimonials with you yesterday as well. They are very happy with the level of hygiene that's maintained and the precautions that are taken. In terms of packages, we don't mainly do packages as a company, but we do interesting offers depending on, for example, for COVID, we are doing an interesting fight COVID-19 with 19% off on all services, because we do want to be sensitive to the time that we are in right now. And for us, a lot of our clients depend on our expertise and our recommendations. So we can't pre-sell packages. So a lot of clients do walk in, and when we explain them the entire look that's specifically designed for them, that's when they book in. If we don't have an appointment then and there, they do come back the next day. But because the team is all trained in the same way, even if a consultation is done by one of my stylists, his next colleague or the next team member can take on that service if he's not free. So there's a lot of there's a system and internal working that's seen, and I think it's very exciting. For me, it's sort of coming back to normal. Yeah, I mean, it's very positive. But going ahead, I'm bracing myself for the unknown, to be honest, because Goa hasn't really opened up completely, and we are heavily. This state is dependent on businesses. It's not a city like Bombay, Bangalore, where you have corporate jobs and you have your income fixed even if you're working online. So it's not really viable for us to be in our la la land that things are going to be all good going ahead.
It sounds like, well, the positive thing is your revenue is not too different year on year, which is great. But like you said, because you're an anomaly, because it's much more tourist driven, and you've still got to be cautious. It's too early to kind of get too excited about the future right now.
Yeah.
It's because it's the same scenario with us in Lucknow and Raipur. So you can't, it's too early to, right? Be very rewarding, and suddenly we could see a drop in the 3rd or the 4th week.
Are you seeing that already? Is that
no, not as yet. Not as yet. Fortunately, not as yet.
Okay, super. I think Manjul, let me come back to you in terms of obviously, we've talked about some of the consumer trends that are there. Your revenue obviously is down. What kind of advice could you give to salons that haven't opened up yet, from your learning that, I know a few weeks ago, like the whole salon community was looking very much at how do we open up, what kind of procedures, what kind of precautions do we need to take? So now you've been open, 9-10 days as a salon, nearly 3 weeks as clinic. Now you have hindsight. Essentially, the question is, with hindsight, what advice can you give to other salons and parlors, etc., about this is what you would do now if you had that information to hand? Because there is a lot of advice about follow these guidelines, follow that. You put all this equipment in. So what would you advise that this is definitely the minimum we need to do, and depending on the level of your establishment, your city, this is what you must do?
Yeah. So people who are not open yet, they should not be ignorant about the situation. They must teach themselves the kind of, corona thing we are going through. And they used to say that ignorance is a bliss, but not in current scenario. It's not possible. Educate yourself well. Join an organization who are teaching. There are a lot of organizations working in our field where all of us are coming on the board, and there are programs, train the trainer programs, and learn about it. Those are very simple methods, actually. Very simple methods. My number can be shared. They can contact us. We can put them in that group, and we can teach them a very simple methods of sanitization, sterilization, making clients feel absolutely safe. Your staff should be safe. All this education is really, 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 really important. And I don't think that it really takes too much of money, because if we are using disposables, now we are investing on it, but we were investing on the towels also when they were going to the laundry. So somewhere you are, adjusting your expenses. So it's not too much of expense. What I feel, it's only your, your attitude which should change towards the clients, and you should believe in it that this is the future, and you have to believe in complete hygiene, in complete sanitization, and making safe both the parties. We were, before the lockdown also, we were always using a lot of disinfectants all around, even for the clients. We were always using the mask. All my staff was always wearing this mask when they were attending the client. They were using sanitizers all the time when they were touching the client. So there's not too much of change, actually. The only thing we have to be a little more particular, because clients are coming from outside, and surfaces can carry the infection. So everybody should understand that it's not a small issue. When the whole world is going through this, it's a very, very serious issue. And if we take care accordingly, it becomes a habit. Educate yourself is the most important thing right now.
Right. And then how are you performing? So obviously, when you're servicing clients, are you then having so when you're servicing clients, you've spent, an hour, 2 hours with a client, is your staff then sanitizing that whole space? Again, what's the procedure you're following in Salon at the moment?
So we are taking complete WHO guidance and doctors' guidance, because since we have in-house doctors, they all are dermatologists. So from the time client enter, we use the disinfectant spray. So now equipments have come. Initially, there was little concern about it. So we disinfect them completely. Then we give them apron, which can be used for their haircut also, a disposable apron, and shoe cover. We personally feel even through shoes, person can bring the infection inside. So anything from the outside entering to your premises should be covered. We take that temperature. They sanitize. If they want, they wear gloves. They all are coming with a mask. And then the chair where they are going to sit, we are creating complete distance, and the chair is disinfected. So we use the disinfectant spray there, freshly wiped, and then clients sit there.
Okay. So you're doing it in front of them. So you're actually showing them that before they start the procedure, that you're sanitizing the environment. Before every procedure.
Yeah.
And then what kind of impact has that had on your cost base? So how much extra, percentage-wise, has that added to your cost, having to spend on the extra health and safety requirements?
We are charging to clients a nominal amount. We are charging to clients, and they are very happy. And we have been very, very transparent towards it. Whatever little extra we are spending on it, we are charging from them, and it's a very small amount. And clients, when they see that standard of of care we are giving to them, they feel very happy. They don't mind paying 100 extra or maybe 60-70 rupees extra. They're fine with it.
And how are you labeling that? Are you calling it like a COVID tax or COVID service, or how are you?
No, nothing. It's just added in the service.
Okay, extra service charge.
Little extra, and that is a very small amount actually. So they are perfectly fine with it. Yeah.
Are you able to pass on the total cost that you have to spend on, the sanitization, health and safety? Are you able to pass on that full cost to the client, or just some of it?
No, I think we are sharing some of the burden.
Okay. And how much is that burden? Like, is it an extra 10%?
Small amount. A small amount, because right now we are saving in laundry. Our laundry was huge. Yeah. So if one towel is going for the laundry, they were charging 25 rupees. I'm just giving a small example. Yeah. So we are in that much of amount, we are buying a disposable towel, right?
Yeah.
You understood? So it's compensated. You don't have to actually charge too much to the client. If you are honest with them and very transparent with them, I think they understand it.
Great. So, because I know when we were talking, this is also to the whole group, that when we were talking a few weeks ago, we were all worried as a salon that our cost base will go up 15%, 20%, it will become very unaffordable. No. But you're saying actually it's been quite reasonable and within the cost base.
I mean, I won't say reasonable, but if that burden client is sharing with you, it doesn't become so much on you, right?
Okay. Great. And then Nitin, let me bring you back in, because we've got some interesting, you're on mute at the moment, but interesting switching between Bina and Manjul. So obviously Bina was saying, they started off giving a discount to clients to, saying, look, we want to be of extra service. We want to be of extra service during this difficult time. So we are going to give back, the 19% discount to clients. Manjul saying they're able to pass on costs to clients, which we're also seeing some of that as a trend globally, that actually salons are passing on some of the costs to clients. So what's your what have you been doing in Dubai with regards to get customers back? Do you have to discount or not your full service, and you're charging extra back to them? What's the kind of working happening in Dubai at the moment?
So the number one most important advice which I would like to give to people who have not yet opened in India is this, that number one is to start pre-booking aggressively. Because what we saw, and we luckily did some pre-bookings, but 50% of those people didn't turn up. So really, if you're asking me that what would be the number one advice, I would say, first of all, people who have not opened in India, they should get in touch with their customers and pre-book. And 50% not come, number one. Number two, hygiene-wise, we've seen a lot. Some people are charging the customer, like Manjul. We are not charging anything to the customer. But one thing which we are not doing is discounting in this time. So I heard here a couple of panelists saying that we are giving 19% discount. We are doing packages. Well, packages anyway is a discount product which you've already sold.
Yeah.
But I am not in favor of discounting in this time, because especially if my cost is gone up, or hygiene and whatever the other reasons, I'm not of the school of thought that, okay, let's discount. So that's the second point. Third point you asked, sorry, I don't remember. What did you say?
It was really that, like, and how much has it impacted your cost structure? Because I know people were worried about it's going to be 15, 20% and be very kind of exorbitant.
It's 2%.
Yeah, 2%.
2%.
Wow. Okay.
So that's why we're not charging it. We're taking it.
Yeah.
But we're not discounting the services.
And then, so you're operating at normal revenue levels. So your pre-lockdown pricing was, you're following a similar pricing structure?
Same pricing structure. The revenue is down. The footfalls are down. But because you're not taking extra discount, or you're trying to maximize, as I said, on the home kits. Home kits have been a very, very interesting phenomena for us. People are taking home manicure, pedicure kits. They're taking color home. They're mixing the color for their mother who cannot come to the salon. The old lady sitting at home, she's afraid to come out of the salon. So that's an opportunity. So these are the things I think we should share with each other. Pre-booking, very important. Retail, using, like we are working with Streamline now on these, kits in the salon. So, you don't have to really, it's easier to give services with those kits, disposables. These are the things we have to really, really be on top of.
And then when you're talking about the home kits that you're now moving into, is that a new opportunity you've looked at to substitute some of the revenue loss, or were you already doing some level of retailing and home kits before?
No, this was the COVID idea actually, and we really worked on it, and we are still working on it.
Yeah.
We are learning something. What we believe is that future, the footfall for next 1 year is going to be low. I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be drastically low, but we should be ready that 20-25% footfall will go down. So probably now, we have to, from some other way, we have to create some income. So this home kit idea, which we are doing, I think people do their own color at home and manicure, pedicures at home. Retail is going to be the most important, business going forward.
Yeah.
Our revenue, for example, in Dubai, we are almost neck to neck with services and products.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is something that salons have to understand now, that retail is very, very important, and salons are normally very reluctant retailers.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity which we need to take.
And then, so right now, you're saying you're able to do 50-50 on retail to service. What was that ratio pre-lockdown?
It was around 20-80, I would say.
Wow. Okay, big difference.
So you change.
Yeah.
And
because service revenue
has come down.
Service revenue has come down, and retail revenue has gone up. So somewhere they are now, floating together.
Yeah.
That's what the pattern here is. I don't know about India, but the salons have not opened so far in India. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay. Manjul, you raised your hand. I think you wanted to mention something.
Yeah, suddenly I remembered when I was hearing to Nitin, after 10 days of the lockdown, we had informed clients that retail is available to them. So we were sending them all the retail products, we were sending them and at home. So they were finding it a huge support. So people who are not open, they can start doing this at least. And in any case, we were huge in retail. And at the lockdown time, we really sold hugely all our retail products, hair care products, shampoos, and of course, clients who were not using it also, they started buying. We were doing online consultation through videos and all those things. And we had started doing consultation even for the color also.
Wow.
Through the video. And we were testing the color, deciding the color and sending it at home for them. Everything separated. color and with the developer and everything. So people who have not opened, they can at least provide this kind of support to the client, and client remember it. They were very, very grateful about it.
And did you charge extra for the online consultation?
No,
it was
nothing.
Just into the product package.
We didn't charge anything extra. All the staff was sitting ideal at home. They were actually liking it. All the consultants and senior, senior stylists and creative stylists, they were liking it. So the video was made how to apply the color and all those things, color was sent to them at home.
Great. And how much has your retail increased? So you said you focused very quickly on retailing and sending product out to clients. How much did that increase during the lockdown phase?
We did quite a big business at that time with the retail. In any case, we are huge in retail, but we did a very good job at that time. And secondly, it's a good support to clients, and clients feel very nice about it.
Brilliant. I know Nitin, you had a hand, but I want to just bring in, Kiran and Bina next. But Kiran, what's your experience from kind of these opportunities with regards to driving extra revenue from, for example, retail? And India has been weak at the salon community here. Generally, has been pretty weak at the retail side. So how has that been, within Iosis during this phase?
Well, you know the reason why India as a community is weak at retail due to the handsome margins. So that is, of course, that is a challenge. That's why I think the partnership between the vendor and where salons are, that needs to come somewhere at a rewarding level. That's where partners will start pushing retail. And I think high time that needs to be done, because of course, as Nitin said, that retail is the way forward. Sharing hair color, the numbers, whatever the clients have to do, I haven't given a thought to that, and I'm not sure about that as a company policy. But yes, consulting them for retail, and we got an amazing response. We do sell a couple of products, including L'Oreal, and as a Nashi as a hair product for hair care. We got an amazing response for that. So whatever stocks we had in Raipur before the lockdown, luckily we had stocked in a lot of stocks because there was a demand. Everything got over within 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's, and I can't stock them up now again because the courier services are not on. So we've got a good response to retail. So retail is of course the way forward, and I'm very positive about that.
And when you said you managed to sell out very quickly on whatever stock you had in store, was that a push from your end? Was it very much telling your customer, okay, they're closed, but you can still buy products from us?
Let me give a little credit to the product, because our clients have been using the product and they're extremely happy. I use it personally also. And they were waiting for our stores to open up. And in fact, we had people, they had sent their drivers to the salon and got it picked up, like a 6-bottle, 12-bottle together, that maybe it's going to run out after this. So we sold pretty quickly. We were sold out pretty quickly.
Great.
And the product is excellent. That's the reason we had people coming in back to us.
And what about now? So are you seeing, how are you going to then help focus on the retail side, within the business? Because these services are back, but how are you going to continue that focus on driving retail?
By education, that's our way forward. That's the best way forward. As Manju ma'am just said, that by educating them online through our Instagram handle, educating them, of course, on their hair treatments, not on hair colors at the moment. I would want and wish that we have clients coming to the salon to get their hair services done. And but when it comes to treatments, yes, we would love to educate our guests and customers for their hair services.
Yeah. Okay. Bina, let me just shift to you before I think we end up cornering Aankith on the margin side. But Bina, so what's been your experience from the retail point of view? Like, has that been a big element of your salons in Goa traditionally, and what's it like now?
So let me bring this back. I'm sure all of you know the answer already. I'm a technical person.
You're slightly faint.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you
Can
might
you
have
hear
to
me
speak louder.
now?
Yeah,
Can you
yes,
hear me now?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm a hardcore technical creative person. So I'm not tied down to one brand. When you want to do excellent in retail, you do have to sell one brand and not confuse a client, at the most two brands. I go with the companies I really like and I evolve with. I do have a very close partnership with certain companies when it comes to retail products and colors and the care. But for me, that is an essential part. But most importantly, the focus has been on cut and color, and how someone can. Because for me, hair changes how you feel about yourself, and that was always the driver during the lockdown. So during the lockdown, I did a lot of work. I mean, educational workshops. Going down 7 days back to back before the lockdown opened. So we had a lot of inquiries online on Instagram about how they could choose the color, when they can come to the salons. For me to literally drive in people through those educational videos that I posted before the lockdown really helped. So, from even simple services like root touch-ups, when people had been going to different places and, not getting the solution they were looking for. So my focus really was there. And also the products, if you are tied up, if you are a technically very, very good company, then you are going to use a certain level of a minimum good quality product. And then it's only going to be, what are you going to recommend from that? For me, products are important, but pushing the client is not important. It doesn't come very naturally to me. But anyone, so for me, when I say you need to pick this, it's almost like we have to. There is no second thought. It's not about, okay, you can buy this and you can buy this and you can buy this as well. So products come as a natural, I wouldn't be able to completely share the percentage of sales in terms of products. Or has that been the driving factor? But for me, services has been. It hasn't. I don't think my retail is close to the service level. My service levels opened really well in the first 3 weeks, and we were very, very happy with. So whether we approach it in a certain way by not charging the clients for the PPE, or actually being very sensitive. At least for me, I was. My dad's a doctor. He's a surgeon. He's a kidney specialist, and I've been speaking to him about what measures they take in a surgery room before they go in for operating. So for me, I was quite sorted in terms of what I need to do, and for me, it was very simple. That keep it simple, but keep it very, very targeted. If you have a certain amount of money that you want to invest in your, I think Manjul mentioned, if you have good practices and habits that are a constant in the salon, if you add a few of them on, it's not going to be, so different for people to adapt to. So we literally, like I said, I've been talking to different groups as well online. There are people at the national level trying to come up with a guideline, particularly to do with hair. And for me, it is, if you follow guidelines, being as close to a sanitization in a hospital, I think you're cool. There's no, one doesn't have to, think too much. And one of our colleagues, Sonia from Bangalore, she was actually admitted for a bit in the hospital. And she said that even in the ICU, people weren't wearing the PPE kits. It was only in the COVID sections where people were admitted. So, there has been a lot of back and forth in terms of what we need to do. But like coming back to retail, I think retail has been always a support to our work rather than a driving force. So that's.
I think that's I think that's always the challenge when you're a technical person moving into running the business. That actually Now, I know many, like, you've got Seema as well, in Seema Jarjani, who, loves, is a technician, and she loves the art, and, product,
No,
the
but
product side and retail side doesn't
sorry,
always
I'll clarify this, Vikas. I'll clarify this. While I think I'm a technical person, but I think products are very important. Like, I'll put it out there, Schwarzkopf has the best styling products. Schwarzkopf has the best colors. L'Oreal has some best toners. This Olaplex that Aankith does is one of the top of the line products in India right now, So I think a technician can't work without good products. But that means that you are using the products when it's necessary, while it's necessary, and that's not becoming the focus area. While it can, I'm not saying it can't, but that's not the driver.
Yeah, and I'm saying that's where you may have psychologically the retail challenge, that we want to push this product because you want to do what's best for your customer. Nitin, so I'll come back to you now, because I know you'd raised your hand a while ago.
No, I just wanted to ask Manjul that when you're charging this 100 rupee to your customer, do you inform them in advance, or you just put it on their bill?
No, we inform them in advance.
Okay, that's it. I just wanted to know that.
Yeah. They should know that, we are investing on them.
Exactly.
They should know about it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And they understand the kind of expense is coming into it. And they are ready to add a little bit of, extra amount in their bills.
Absolutely.
We never faced any problem. And in any case, lots of clients are on packages. So they are getting services on discounted price, or with the offers, or whatever you can say. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think actually what's interesting across all of the salons, that even when we were chatting to Bina yesterday, that typically before opening we were worried about 15-20% hits on the cost base. It's going to be $600, $700, $800 extra to charge customers. But listening to all of you, it's all been in the single digits. Nitin, you were saying 2%. Even Bina yesterday was saying 5-6%. So actually, it hasn't been radically different to what was happening before, if you have these good practices already built into your system. Kiran, you want to say something?
So initially, Manju ma'am, we started, when we started, we thought about the same, that there are going to be extra cost, and we will have to part it with our, customers. But our clients have been with us since last 5 years at the Center 1 in Raipur. So they've belonged to the place. They feel at home. And they, in fact, when they came in, the thing was, they told us that you've been doing this since last 5 years. We offer spa and salon, all the services. We use disposables. So one of her clients, she just mentioned that just about a mask and one disposable, you're charging us 200. Now, that very moment, I felt that was not, this is something, I think it's an investment of goodwill for the future. As I said, that initially our services were slow, and it picked up because clients were secured and safe with us. Now, I believe in investing this little amount as a goodwill with our services instead of charging our clients, because somewhere our guests were, why this little amount has been added. It's not required. Okay, we pay, but they were not positive about paying about, that extra, whatever, 200. So it was more like, it's your brand. You cannot be charging this little amount with this service. We've been with you since so many years. We've given you, we paid up for so many packages without discounts also at times, So that's I think this is the time to invest in your marketing and your goodwill a little bit. This is my take to the extra cost.
Yeah, I think that's always a business decision, but I think it's also like listening to the conversation, and every part of India is very different. So the trends we're seeing, you might see in the north to Mumbai, to Goa, and Bangalore. Bangalore's a highly sophisticated, highly educated city that I think it also depends. And I know, listening to data from around the world, there is an additional cost going straight to the customer. And customers have not really seen an issue with that, because they understand that if we want to make sure we're going to an environment that is, delivering good practice, we may have to bear some of that cost. So I think ultimately it's a business decision, and you may end up, depending on what city you're in, changing your tactics. So like in Mumbai, you might decide we can pass it on because Mumbai is more expensive anyway. Customers are more willing to pay here versus, you know, what they might do, you know, in a smaller town, for example. Okay,
And we're starting Guwahati on the 2nd positively, so I'm going to share the Guwahati experience after this.
That would be interesting as well, yeah.
So Vikas, so I attended a couple of panel discussions in the US. You know, there was CEOs of various global brands and salon chains, and everybody was talking about, you know, the best practices. And I think India has been so far ahead as well. You know, we're pretty much out there at a global level when it comes to the best hygiene practices. You know, it's impressive with the kind of work that I've seen some of the panelists do with their salons, and even in the salon fraternity group that we've just formed a couple of weeks ago. So when I was talking to panelists, you know, in different countries and was attending these sessions, you know, some of the measures that we have taken as a country in India are phenomenal. You know, and everybody who I spoke to, even in the outside world, you know, in different countries, hairdressers, I speak to a lot of hairdressers because that's where a lot of the learning comes from. You know, and you know, I just want to share this. A lot of them are so proud. You know, they're like, you know, we are like artists. You know, we're like Picasso. So we want to do the best for our clients. And you know, even in India, everyone's doing the best for their clients. And you know, and everywhere, even in the US, they're charging a little bit extra because while you know, there is an incremental cost, and also, you know, from a marketer's perspective, if you look at consumer behavior, if you are charging them something extra, that also gives them a reassurance that there's something more being done. So it's probably charging them is not a profit making or a loss making scenario, but it's also instilling in them more confidence. And like you rightly said, cities differ, consumers, the demographics differ, and people differ from different parts of the country to one part. But yes, I think broadly, you know, I think whatever everyone's doing is right in their own way, in their own cities. And you know, at the end, what's good is that, you know, India, if I compare to other countries, I think I'm happy to say that, you know, we are at par or maybe a step ahead, even versus Europe in some of the measures that I have seen Indian salons taking vis-a-vis even the European salons that, you know, we are in touch with because of the other distributors we're in touch with in our WhatsApp groups. And when they share their best practices and when we share what we have done as a country, you know, I can proudly tell you that India is, I would say, a step ahead of the West right now on this context.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I know, like, we've all alluded to it, but the work that, you know, what Monica, the BWSC, you know, and the whole team that, you know, Vikas kickstarted this whole movement where we've got the salon community together to then do train the trainer and get SOPs in place and drive it down the line to our smaller barbers and parlors. I mean, I've not seen anything like that. And even I know when I talk to our Dubai team and our UK team, they're kind of putting stuff together now, which the community in India had put together a few weeks ago already, you know, and obviously like the UK is saying they're not ready to open until July at the earliest, the salon business. But you're right. I think it's been phenomenal, the work that's being done here, you know, and really that whole focus on health and safety, hygiene, SOPs, you know, from all the top salons and trainers are getting together to really drive that message down. Obviously, Monica was sharing the last couple of days. We've had lakhs and lakhs of staff getting certified, you know, with the BWSC kind of program. You know, it's been so much work
and you know, because the good part is I was having a chat with Sahil from Bodycraft, happens to be Manjul ma'am's son, and he was talking about, we were kind of discussing on all these things, and we were just having a general discussion. So he was talking about certain steps he's thinking for 2 months ahead. So, you know, there are also, I think the Indians are also thinking 2 steps ahead of what are we going to transition to in 2 months in terms of sanitization and how can we replace one element with the other. You know, so that is, I'm telling you, I'm so impressed with, you know, what we have achieved as Indians and how fast the salons are gaining confidence. From what I heard from Kiran ma'am, from Manjul ma'am, from Bina, from Nitin, you know, if you see, the footfalls are coming back. There are services being done. You know, of course, you cannot overturn consumer behavior, but from whatever I've heard from, you know, the Indian salons, I think overall there's positive vibes. You know, I think Manjul ma'am mentioned that it's good to have that vibe where the salons open after so long and people are back in that normal mode. You know, Bina spoke about, you know, how people are coming because they just need that consultation. And, all of them have been doing their video consultations and all of that. Keratine's happening in Raipur. So I think the whole overall vibe is super, super positive from an industry standpoint, which is great.
Yeah, good. Nitin, I'm going to bring you in a second, but I just wanted to check with Bina. Are you doing advanced hair treatments as well, like keratin, etc.? Is that happening within
Yes.
your salon?
Yes.
And when did it start happening? Was it
It's
from the
interesting.
beginning, or?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm surprised, so people have come in asking for silver highlights and, placement colors. And it didn't seem like the lockdown really has bothered them as much when it came to fashion and, trying to come back. So apart from, yes, the basic services, that's your trim and root touch-up, clients have also been looking for slightly bigger services like your keratins and your, advanced coloring, which could take up to 3 to 4 hours. And they're happy to be in the salon. They feel safe.
And you were seeing that from like week 1? Or did it take a couple of weeks? For that?
Towards the end of week 1, the beginning of week 1 was everything that was basic, your root touch-ups and your trims and your everything out of the way. People had almost like sort of pre-booked by asking us, are you opening on the 4th? Are you opening? Can you book our appointment? So there was some sort of notice out in the market that we might be allowed to be open on the 4th. And we had started getting inquiries before that. So the basic services definitely filled in the first 3 days, and then you had the bigger services start.
Impressive. And then how much, because Nitin had an interesting point earlier, how much of your, let's say, for example, week 1, week 2 was all pre-booking versus, say, a walk-in culture?
The first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks were pre-booking, but not way before pre-booking. In the sense, the first 2 to 3 days we had pre-bookings, like complete. Then 1 day before, 2 days before, they would book for the next day and stuff like that. So
you weren't letting walk-ins come in.
Sorry, no, we had walk-ins also. No, we had walk-ins also, and for us, because we have our steps in place. Our social distancing norms in place. I'm not saying no to walk-ins. Preferably, we do a pre-booking, but if the salon is not busy, I'm not going to turn away a walk-in.
Yeah. And how much of that initial weeks was, percentage-wise, if you have any idea, was pre-booked versus walk-in?
Week 1, I would say 60 to 70% was pre-booked.
And what is it typically, like on a pre-lockdown basis? What is it typically, the ratio?
Not so much, to be honest. They just either walk in or just book a day before, because Goa is a very casual culture as well, in the sense that it's not a city where people have to cram in their time. They would be like, okay, I feel like going for a haircut today. Let me go for a haircut today. I feel like doing this to my hair today. Let me go. It's a very laid back sort of a place, rather than, getting into a very controlled mode. And, there is no FOMO happening in Goa, fear of missing out.
Yeah, I think FOMO is happening around the whole country right now. It's like, we just want to get out. But Manjul, can I ask you the same kind of question? Like, obviously, you've been going 2 weeks now. How much of your business is pre-booking versus walk-in?
We are able to take very few walk-ins because social distancing is happening. So we have particular chairs. We can take only that many clients. We are using each therapy room, so we are able to take facials. So most of the pre-bookings are done. And but if any walk-in is there, and we have the staff free, we are definitely looking after them.
Yeah.
You can't miss out on it.
I know. Not at the moment, but
no, not at all.
I might walk in tomorrow to your salon then.
You are most welcome.
I'm going to be the first.
You have already announced.
Nitin, let me come to you on that, because I know when we were chatting yesterday that your whole ethos was we need to make as much money as possible from that client. So once they're in, they're in. So and I know you were talking about the pre-booking issue, like half of it dropped out. So what advice would you give, to salons listening about what they need to be doing right now to maximize, revenue per customer?
Kiran also had a very interesting point on that, and I think people should pay heed to that particular thing, which is doing multiple services at the same time. That is going to be the key. As I said, that the numbers are down, and if people are scared to be in the salon for a longer period of time, it makes sense to prepare your salon layout in a manner which resembles an industry almost, in the sense you have to create atmosphere or packages in a way that people can come, they can get the manicure, pedicure done, and they can get a haircut done. In Bina's case, maybe if she doesn't do beauty, then maybe she can do multiple services on hair itself, things like that. That's really the key. Maximize that revenue for yourself.
Yeah, it might actually be a good tip for some of the furniture brands to actually look at how do they modify furniture right now to make an all-in-one unit. But, what are your plans for then the India market? Because obviously you've got juice salons here, so you're obviously learning from what's happening in Dubai. In India is a different market, different culture. But what are you now doing from a juice India point of view to prepare?
So we've been already very active on the internet, and we've been selling products like Manjul. We have done substantial business in the lockdown on retail. We've also done like good enough business on the home kits in India. I think the markets are totally different. Dubai and India, you guys are going to be better than Dubai. Let me tell you that, because that the population which lives there, as Bina said, they're local. In Dubai, you have a lot of expat population. You depend a lot on tourists. That's not the case in India. So the dip in India will be less than what it is in Dubai.
Right.
I think India should. I'm myself. I've got 40 salons in India. And I'm just waiting for them to open. So I think India will be all right. But again, touching what Aankith said, that we are one step ahead and everything. It's all very romantic what he says, but you see, we have 200,000 salons in India, and not everybody is geared up for this kind of hygiene and what we are doing.
Yeah.
Of course, we are trying to train them and everything. My company is also involved in train the trainer like Manjul's, and we're doing that. But it's an uphill task. You can't. Everybody cannot be like A-grade salons. There are so many small salons out there. So we need to be vigilant in India, especially because once, for example, this home service in India. Now, I was reading in the newspaper the other day, this one guy went to somebody's house and 7 people got infected. So
in India?
In India. Yeah. So you see, you should be ready for this kind of news, because few chains can handle that kind of measures, safety, hygiene, everything. But the small salons, they are waiting to explode. I'm sorry, I will not be that optimistic as Aankith. If bad news starts coming in from there, then you have a problem. So our duty should be to reach out to as many salons as possible and teach them basic.
Yeah, which is what all the great effort right now, with what the BWSSC is doing, what the salon community is doing. Vikas has been brilliant in spearheading that and getting everyone together to train the trainers, and I think everyone on this panel is involved on that, plus many others. I just want to pick, before we wrap up and we talk about these lessons for the smaller salons, you're also a product guy, right? So you've got both heads. And I know in India, like the brands do get hammered. Like the brands do get hammered saying we don't get enough margin, we don't get this. that argument will always be there. You know, salons will always want more margin. They say in the West we get better margins. We can't retail because we need that. What's your take? Because you've got both hats. So, and you're saying that you're retailing well at the moment. So what's your take, wearing the product hat on right now, you know, to make retail more successful for salons in India?
So very interesting question, Vikas. This is really interesting question. And I 100% agree with Kiran when she says that the vendors in India, and Aankith, this is not against any particular company or something, but in India, retail margins are not adequate enough. I'll tell you that. And that's one of the reasons also that people don't take this seriously. As far as my own brand is concerned, you know, I don't know if you know, but you know, we probably give the highest margin. You know, we have a brand called LYN, the nail brand.
Yeah.
So you know, we have decided for last 1 year that you know we are going to work with salons, and we are we are only professional brand, and we make sure that the salons make money on our products, because otherwise this relationship is not equal. Now, you know, somebody like Bina says, no, I'm not interested in retail so much. I'm a technical person. And, you know, it's up to her what she wants to do. But if the margins were good, if Indian vendors and Indian companies start treating salons like partners, then believe me, it is not only good for the product companies, but it is good for the overall industry. So yes, in India, there is an issue, right? If you compare the margins from US or from... Sorry, there's some...
Yeah, can you look at that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. It is back.
There's some echo right there.
Oh, it's just, yeah, it's bounced back. Okay. I think because your advice is so good, it's coming back again at us.
No, so yes, if the margins are good, and if vendors, you know, start really treating salons.
Got it. So what typically is LYN giving you? What kind of margin, you know, within, you know, give a range if you want, but when you're saying we're giving good margins out, what are those margins like?
So see, what happens if you go to Europe or US or even Far East, the typical margins are 50%.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the minimum margin. So in India, nobody is giving that. I mean, we offer that kind of margin, very close to that, whatever, because we also are an education company, so we educate people, and you know those budgets are separate. But margins overall in India are very less, and also the reason for that, I'm not always blaming the vendors, but what happens is also importing in India, right? So the import duty factor is there.
Correct.
At times, you know, logistics and everything. But then the main brands sitting in America, they should be, you know, helping the Indian vendors that, okay, you know, we are going to take some cost. I don't know what happens. I'm not in that game anymore. I just do my work.
You've managed international brands, and you know.
I have, and I still do few. But as I said, that in my own brands, we give very good margin to people. And I think, you know, Aankith can throw more light on that.
Yeah. So
giving these kind of margins. But,
so Vikas, there is so on that context. So you know, when we work with our clients on our brands, we do have you know, different margin structures for you know, some of our clients, depending on the kind of understanding we have with them on volumes, as well as, you know, just giving the margin is not sufficient. It will not get the business. Giving the margin and then taking a commitment from the brand of you know, giving us the platform to invest in the education of their teams, to grow the retail business, as well as the kind of investment they bring to the table in terms of educating their hairdressers, as an example. It plays a very important role. And as Nitin rightly said, you know, it's also a lot to do with the duty structure in India, you know, where let's say the ex works price for an Indian buyer and an American buyer or a European buyer would be the same, but the duty structures range from 5% in some countries to 40%. You know, so of course that kills a lot of our margin in just getting the goods from you know, one part of the world to the other. Having said that, you know, as a company, we are open, because we work with a lot of you know, key accounts across the country, and we are very open to, you know, working on margins, and we do give good margins to a lot of our clients. And like I said, it's all a give and take in terms of, okay, how they're going to invest in education, what investment is needed from us, how do we work on stylist incentives? Because we do a lot of investment on hairdresser incentives in collaboration, in discussion mutually with the salon owners, you know. So there's a lot of permutations, combinations around that. And I'm sure a lot of the other brand partners are doing the same, you know, and I think it's a journey we need to go take together, and need to figure out the give and get, not only from a commercial standpoint, but even how do we ensure that margin gives us the right numbers and volume. So just the margin is not going to drive the numbers. There's a lot of other things that need to be put in place within the relationship, working relationship between the vendor and the salon to kind of really get that going, you know. So I think in the post-COVID scenario, with the kind of trends we're seeing on retail, I think we would look at now, you know, working on that. Also, if you look at the way things are going digital, a lot of the education is going to move digital. So a lot of the education is going to move digital. So the work our educators on our payrolls were doing earlier is also going to dramatically change. So we are already working with, within the team to look at the new education, kind of protocols. We're talking to, salon owners, hairdressers from across the country to understand how we could go digital and how we could upgrade their team. So we were one of the first people to start Zoom sessions for a lot of our accounts. Within 2 days of the lockdown, on the third day, we were doing Zoom sessions, training stylists across Indian salons. So we actually started within 2-3 days of the lockdown, which is lockdown 1.0. So I'm not talking 2.0, 3.0. I'm talking in India, we have 1.0, 2.0, and I don't know how long that's going to continue. Yeah. But we actually started within 2 working days of the lockdown. We were educating our partner salons across all our brands. Okay. And I think, yes, we're going to step change that further, taking feedback from some of the panelists, some of the other customers that we work with, as to how we can, work on really maximizing on retail and getting things in that direction.
Got it. I want to wrap up because we're actually about half an hour over time, so coming up to 7. I mean, it's been a very interesting conversation for me, and also I think community listening in. I want to wrap up just by going back to, if you could give a couple of summary tips to the community that hasn't opened up with regards to, even Nitin was talking about, yeah, you guys are sophisticated chain owners, you've got others in this bracket, but I think, Nitin, it's more than 2 lakh other salons we're worried about. There's actually, it goes into lakhs and lakhs and lakhs. That one bad apple could ruin it, could really upset it for the rest of the community. So what couple of tips could you give? And especially because those ones at the end of the tail, the lakhs aren't going to be able to afford the kind of SOPs or equipment that you guys could put in place. So what could you just summarize, a couple of tips for those that haven't opened up, which are more at our mass market community? I think that's what we're kind of hoping to educate. What would you advise them at this moment in time? Bina, let me go to you first.
Okay, so I have just 4 simple tips. One is disinfect, sterilize, mask, and sanitize. Okay, so within these 4 categories, how is it that you're going to do and what you're going to do? In the beginning, when you open, your aprons need to be disposable till you get a hang of things in the first month. And you have to make sure that as soon as the client comes in, you take their information, they fill in a declaration form and sanitize and keep the mask on all the time. Towels cannot be repeated at all, in which case that's the reason that they need, the smaller salons would need support in that direction. If they do want to reuse towels, each towel has to go into wash after use with a very strong disinfectant. So I think, like you said, BWSAC is working on this. We as a team, as a group, are working on the hair side of things. And also, while I'm not a beauty expert, but we do beauty expertise service within our salon. We work with Dermalogica. So we've also worked with Dermalogica on the Zoom sessions during this period to understand skin safety and understand how you handle the skin department during this period. And even with your manicure, pedicure, I think the main 4 key things are your sterilization, disinfecting, sanitization, masks. So if you can just go into detail on that. I would really, I would think the smaller salons would benefit by keeping it simple. But, invest in very strong, high quality disinfectants, something, like I said, close to hospital standards. If you can match that, you're good.
Super. Kiran, wrap up tips from you. You're on mute.
Mute.
Sorry. So I think Bina has the suggestions what you've given, Bina, are excellent, because that's what we are following, is taking care of sanitization, disinfection, and most important, before we start the center every morning, we make sure we use soap water to clean up everything. That is something very important I think one should do, is start your center, and at the end of the day, your housekeeping needs to clean up the center with soap water. Create posters, awareness posters, like don't touch your hand, don't touch your face, wear a mask, do not sneeze. Small little posters around your center, some creative posters, so that people keep seeing that, and you're educating them time and again that they don't need to touch their face. Because what happens when you're wearing a mask, you keep touching to just remove it for a second. Now, you ignorantly, you're just touching up you're touching your face again and again. So you need to create those posters. Nitin, I'm with you when you need to prep up your guests that you're going to open up. Your center is going to open on so-and-so date. Educate them. Try to get them in advance. Try to get them, the bookings before. Don't wait that if you're opening on the 1st, suddenly you will have bookings. No. Prep yourself before you start. And don't be stressed. It will take a little while. Every city is going to be different. It's like every child has a different temperament. That's how every city is going to have a different temperament. We all are going to experience different things, but I'm sure this beauty and wellness industry is together. We all are standing by each other, and I'm sure everybody will get a lot of suggestions how to fight COVID in this situation.
Brilliant. Aankith, any tips from you? Because obviously you've got Olaplex and MeSafe, which you launched during this period as well.
Right. So, Vikas, I think Nitin made a very valid point that we've got over 200,000 smaller salons, barber shops, and a lot of other standalone units as well. And, keeping that in mind, we were kind of the first ones to come up with this concept of MeSafe service kits. So we've shipped about 1.5 lakh units across the length and breadth of the country over the last 1 week. And now we are working with some of the leading salon chains to get their feedback. So we're shipping out samples to everybody to get more feedback on what we need to tweak in those service kits. These service kits are basically, for example, if it's a waxing service, it's a complete pre-packed kit. For a color service, complete pre-packed kit. For a facial, complete pre-packed kit. The objective of doing that is to kind of take away from, enable these smaller salons as well to use something without them forgetting something that needs to be used. So we're trying to not leave anything to their discretion, but trying to pre-pack it. Also, the kits are being conceptualized by some of the panelists, some of the friends that I'm in touch with in the industry who are helping us conceptualize these kits. And those are the ones that we're shipping out to salons so that they have like an end-to-end one-stop solution for their services. So like a lot of the A-grade salons are very good at that already, like Nitin mentioned, and the kind of measures that we've already heard. We want to be able to standardize it for the country. And that's the reason why MeSafe was born during the lockdown, to kind of bring in that standardization on what disposables to use and in what form. So that's what we've been trying to do. So I think that should help kind of cover some of the gap of standardizing the hygiene practices in line with what, the Beauty and Wellness Council is also suggesting.
Okay, super. Manjul, ma'am, I'd like to bring you in on this. Because you've got 34 outlets you're running at the moment. So what tips would you give?
So I think most of the tips other panelists have given already. Now, they should get ready with all the mono kits, which clients find very hygienic. So that would definitely help a lot. And in waxing, if they are using disposable spatulas. So you can spend little extra on it, but it's not a big amount, and the client feels very safe. Mono kits are very important for all the beauty services and for facials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Nitin?
I would just like to add that.
Yeah, I think it's, and I think what you were all saying before, it isn't actually much extra compared, extra cost for the business. So, I mean, that's an interesting point, because when we were chatting a few weeks ago, a lot of salon owners were very worried about the extra cost they would have to spend to be kind of COVID ready. I think it's great to hear your viewpoint that it hasn't been that extortionate for the business. So, Nitin, wrap up comments for you.
Yeah, so I would say that number one is, stay positive, because we are in an industry which is, of course, it's fashion, but is also needed. It's essential. Everybody needs a haircut. Everybody needs a pedicure. So let's be positive. Number one. Number two, just do simple things, as Bina said. Cleaning up the salons and everything. Other thing is, look at retail. Very important. Look at product, what people can take home, pre-booking, using, disposables. These are the things these are the new norms now in the world of, and that's it. Again, I good luck to everybody. I think, everybody will be all right in India at least.
And Dubai, Nitin, don't worry. We'll take care of you in Dubai
we
as
are
well.
hoping for things to settle in Dubai as well, Nitin. I really hope they do.
Thank
And
you.
I feel we should have been doing this before COVID also. I think it feels nice to look after our guests and pamper them. I feel excellent about it personally.
Although I have one more idea which I would like.
I think the only point.
One more small point. I think,
Sorry.
especially in India, we should adopt some salons in our vicinity. In the sense that we should.
Excellent idea.
Yeah, I think we should do that, and go to them with kind of a video or some literature, and just even if your manager can go to the next door small beauty parlor and share with them, because maybe they don't know. I think we should adopt like 5-10 salons in our vicinity. If we can do that, I think we'll be.
I think it's a great idea, Nitin.
So, Bina, I hope you're doing it then in Goa. At least 5 salons you should go to.
Yeah, so I'm going to do it as regimented as you make it sound. I've been doing it offline, whenever I get the chance. But I think putting a deadline and a regiment to it is important. Also, one thing I think I think all of us know it, but we forgot to categorically mention is distancing between the chairs. So what we do is normally turn one chair around and keep one stair.
That's happening everywhere.
No, we are talking about small. No, we are talking about small barber shops or salons that are not that big. When they have 3 chairs or 3 barber chairs. I'm not only talking about chain salons. I'm not talking about people who are already educated on it, but just the barber shops. If that. I have seen barber shops where they're still sitting next to each other.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm just
educate them on all these things, basically.
Yeah.
You're telling them this part of it. Social distancing.
Nitin, I live in Juhu on the 11th road. On 13th road, I have 2 barbers who were on the road, practicing on the road, So I've actually gone there and I've given them disposables and things and educated them, and I'm keeping a watch on them.
Very nice. Fantastic. That's the real service to the industry.
I think all of us need to do that. It's time for society, and we need to give time.
So Vikas, you should now, initiate some kind of a movement towards this. Adopt a salon.
I think that, I think adopt a salon is a very interesting concept actually, and which is what I know Rekha's team and what everyone here is involved with. How do we train the trainer? But that's a great idea to expand that into adopt a salon as well. Across the country.
It's much more personal. I think it's much more personal. It's much more, it will get done when it's done at the ground level, because so I think if you take this idea from Nitin very quickly, he's giving it to you for free.
Hashtag adopt a salon.
Joking.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
On a lighter note, let's get Vikas a haircut first.
Yeah.
I have called you up 5 times for that, Vikas.
Oh my God. I'll walk anywhere right now for a haircut. I might walk down to Goa because that's open.
Be a pleasure to have you.
But thank you so much, guys, because the whole point of getting you together was to share valuable lessons.
I gotta go.
Yep, I think so. We're wrapping up because we're way over. But again, thank you so much for your contributions and the lessons for the rest of the community. Thank you, guys.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
all of
everyone.
And
you.
best of luck to all of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks,
Thank
Manjul.
you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
ma'am.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
Nitin.
Bye,
Bye,
Aankith.
Vikas.
Bye,
Bye,
Nitin.
Bina.
Thank you. Bye bye,
Stay
everybody.
touch.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Kit.